Walk on through the wind. Walk on through the rain.
Hello and welcome back to the Unbearable Reds. I'm your host Carl, and today we're going to be having a look at the upcoming game between Liverpool and Manchester City. This is already penciled in as our hardest game of the season. It's Klopp vs Pep. The best versus the best. You know the rest. You know the CV. I don't need to go into that too much. So I want to have a look at both teams coming into this game, how this game will impact both teams' seasons, and have a look at some of the discussion around the key areas of the match. So let's start out with both teams. We all know Liverpool's injury issues. Virgil's out, Fab's out, Matip's touch and go, and Thiago is unlikely to be playing in this game. Man City have issues of their own. They got Guardiola, Aguero maybe missing the game with injury, but it isn't impossible that he's going to play. I think he'll play some part in this game, if not starting, then definitely getting a few minutes from the bench. I think our injuries do weaken us for this fixture quite a bit. I know, amazing insight, we're missing some of our best players, we're a weaker side for it. That's what you come here for, that kind of insight that you only get here. But it is true, Man City have more of their first choice, first team players available than we do, so their squad as a whole will be going into this game stronger than ours from a player availability point of view. Form is a different question though. Liverpool are supposedly the crisis club, according to the journos, despite being top of the league, unbeaten in our Champions League group, and top scorers in both of those competitions so far. If only all teams could have crises like Liverpool Football Club A. I mean, could be a lot worse. Man City, on the other hand, who are being talked about as this like massive threat and the favourites for the game, they haven't looked good themselves. They really haven't been their usual. Well, I say usual, I mean, is this the usual Man City now? They were like this last season. Seem to be continuing this season. They've been drawing games against teams that we've beaten, like Leicester and West Ham. We've beaten both of those teams, and City have dropped points to them. They've laboured wins against Arsenal and Sheffield United. We battered Arsenal. And alright, we laboured to our own victory against Sheffield United, but we still got the win. And of course, they got absolutely twatted at home 5-2 by Leicester. Anyone going into this game thinking that it's a given for Man City, because we have a few defensive injuries, you haven't been paying attention to what's going on with the rest of the league and the rest of the teams. Like, you haven't been paying attention to Man City because, alright, we're a weaker team, but we're in good form at the moment. They have more of their team available, but they're not in particularly good form. So, to say that Man City are bolted on to win this game is, frankly, short-sighted. And yet, alright, people will say, oh, well, Villa battered Liverpool, so what are City going to do? They're a well better team than Villa. You can say the same about Leicester. We're a better team than Leicester, and if they put 5 past City at the Etihad, what is our attack going to do? We're the top scorers in the league, baby. You know what I mean? If Leicester can put 5 past them, we can put more. Ultimately, both of those arguments are stupid. They are both freak results. Liverpool don't go and get beat 7-2 every week. Man City do not get beat 5-2 at home. Very rarely happens. I can't actually think of a time when it's happened before. But yeah, it just doesn't happen. So those two are freak results. So saying, oh, well, this team beat them, so we can't. Stupid, pathetic, leave it out. So now I want to talk about how this game can impact both seasons. Both team seasons, should I say, and who has the most pressure on them. Because when it comes to pressure, I'm going to say Man City have more pressure riding on this game than Liverpool do. And I'm going to say that because I know Liverpool, we are the defending champions, and people will argue that the champions should be going to their rivals and beating them, etc, etc. And there is merit in saying that. I mean, I think it does stamp a massive authority down on the league if we've gone to the team that people think are going to push us for this title, beat them in their own backyard and do it well. I think it makes a big statement if we do that. However, it's not the end of the world if we don't. City, on the other hand, for Man City, if they lose this game, they're effectively out of the title race. They'll be 7 points behind us, although they will have that game in hand. And then they're going away to Spurs after having a 2-week international break to stew on the fact that they've just lost to the team that they needed to beat to close that gap on them. And they're going to lose to Spurs. Spurs are in form. A Jose Mourinho Spurs, who are a win away from going top themselves. Do you know what I mean? If they lose to us, their confidence is going to go, and they will lose to Spurs. Then they'll be 10 points behind us if we beat Leicester, which we should. If we're going and beating City, we're going to beat Leicester as well. And that's it. Title race over as far as Man City are concerned. There are other teams that we, Liverpool, need to be concerned of, but Man City, they're not warned about that point. The whole game, to me, boils down to Man City have to win this game. Liverpool cannot lose this game. That's what it comes down to. If we don't lose, it's a good result. If Man City don't win, it's a bad result for them because they need to close that gap on us. So I'm going to have a little talk about the formations. Now, not Man City because I don't really know enough about how they rotate formations or even if they do. But I do know a little bit about Liverpool, and it comes down to, is Klopp going to go 4-3-3 or 4-3-2-1? Ultimately, I don't know. You'd have to ask Klopp. But in my opinion, I think we should go with the tried and tested 4-3-3. I know that having the front four makes us a more potent attacking unit, and I'm going to go into why we need to be more offensive in this game a little bit later on in this video. But we can't discount the threat that Man City have going forward. And just having Henderson sitting in front of the back line just gives it that little bit of extra security, that little bit of extra protection that may prove crucial at a crucial moment in this match. Our front three are capable of going forward and doing stuff without that extra fourth man there. Of course it helps, but do we want to lose more defensive solidity to have a more potent attacking threat? And I don't think you gain as much by having a four up front as you lose by having two in midfield in this particular game. So how is this game likely to play out? I think, in my personal opinion, it's going to come down to the perceived weaknesses in both teams' defences and how each other's attacks exploit those weaknesses. Liverpool at the moment, we're the top scorers in the league. Salah, Mane and Jota are banging the goals in and more than capable of punishing the City defence. Ruben Diaz, City's new signing at centre-back, has looked decent, but he's not being tested by an offensive unit on par with what we have to offer. Leicester was a test for Man City, and I don't think Diaz was playing in that game, so it's really unfair to bring that in and say, well, you know, Leicester's attack is not as good as ours and they conceded 5. Ruben Diaz wasn't there, but at the same time he hasn't been tested, as I've just said. Equally, City offensively are more than capable of absolutely annihilating us at the back. They have genuine world-class talent up front on par with Liverpool, and we know some of our defenders. Gomez recently, although he has been playing better in the last couple of games, is liable for a mistake every now and then. And we're going to either be having Matip, who is a better defender than the two young lads. I'd probably feel more secure if Matip was in that defence. But if he's not fit for that game, and we're playing a Reece Williams or a Nat Phillips, both of them are untested against a team of the quality of Man City. And I feel as though that will be a route for Man City to really get something against us. Obviously, that's like worst case scenario, but if I'm a Man City, if I'm Pep Guardiola and I'm looking at a Liverpool team and I'm seeing basically an academy player sat there, I'm targeting him, and you know it's easy to sit here and say, oh, you know, Reece Williams and Nat Phillips have had brilliant games. Nat Phillips got man of the match in the last game in his first game for Liverpool. Yeah, brilliant, excellent, but that's irrelevant. This is a completely different kettle of fish. So that ultimately Nat Phillips is a academy player, and that's the level he's at. Can he be something better? Yes. Is he better now? We don't know. Ultimately, I think the pressure on Man City to get a result may play into our hands. They will be going at us. They have to go at us because they have to win this game, and that will open them up, and that will allow our attack to exploit them and potentially get a few goals. Probably counteracting any that we concede, because I can't see either team coming out of this with a clean sheet. Ultimately, I think Liverpool will win this game 2 or 3-1. I'm also not deluded in the sense that I'm writing City off because they're more than capable of beating us 2 or 3-1 in this game. I just think the psychological factors going against City and the pressure being on them means that they're more likely to make mistakes in this game. And I think we are capable of exploiting those mistakes. And that's why I think Liverpool will win this game 2 or 3-1. Either way, this is a massive game in the season. It's a pivotal moment in the campaign for both teams. We can potentially kill off one of our rivals, and Man City could potentially peg us back and be clawing at us to get back up that table. So it's a massively important game. And I do just want to reiterate, this is a game of Man City cannot afford to not win this game, and we cannot afford to lose this game. So that's my take on the upcoming Liverpool v Man City game. Please like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. Like and follow if you're following on Facebook. Comments are always welcomed and actively encouraged. And as always, up the Reds.